You are listening to High School 510, where sports is the plane, comedy is the pilot, and the sweet Jeeba is our jet fuel. Please sit back and enjoy the ride.
So how you only give me $22,000 to get my head knocked the fuck off in 15 seconds? You know? That's fucked up. That's real fucked up.
Man.
Yeah.
That's why people who get punched in the head for a living shouldn't be designing contracts.
Nah, Dana White was over there being like, pay that nigger a little bit of money.
Niggas won't mind.
And then he's like, if he don't want to take that deal,
they're getting them some new niggas.
Give him some new ones.
It's like, we'll find a new nigga for this nigga to fight. That's what he's thinking.
They get them some new ones.
He's like, man, let's just drive down to Southern California.
In LA on TV, they be selling niggas.
They're like, and if he really wants a chance to fight the big ticket, he needs to know that.
If you get your ass kicked, you know you made it.
Exactly.
That's a Rosa Shrug, like, I made it, mama.
Get one of these niggas, please.
Yeah, good Mother's Day, Brandon.
It was fine. We just did a Zoom brunch or whatever. We all just sit around and ate and talked on the computer.
Yeah, shit like that makes me happy. I'm Generation X. A Zoom brunch. I love brunch. I like brunch with people. But I don't like staring at a fucking computer while eating.
That's how this podcast just started, Aaron.
I didn't say I don't like to do it. I didn't say the difference is, and you heard Jarrett bitching about it, right? Like we watched some event through Zoom. Jarrett shared it with Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And
try to get my account banned or something like that.
So we watched that.
Where were you, Brandon? I invited you.
It was Mother's Day.
No, that was the day before Mother's Day.
Saturday night, bro.
Mother's Day? Was it Saturday?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
What was I doing on Saturday then?
Nothing.
I have no idea.
That's my question. What were you doing Saturday evening? Because you ain't like you can go anywhere.
I'm trying to think what was going on.
This is my favorite time because people can't make lies up about where they were doing.
So our neighbors have big bamboo stalks next door. So like we started seeing these bamboo shoots in our yard.
Yeah.
For the last time digging up bamboo yesterday. And I'm not sure if we should go talk to our neighbor about like, hey, like you need to either kill this bamboo or you need to come help us with a shovel. I don't know which one we do.
That shit hard to dig up.
Dude, I didn't realize it was that hard until I stopped. And I was like, man, I need to
basically
get my electrolytes up.
If it grew better, it could be if it grew more, like just not an abundance of it out here, it will be a fucking weed because it's so hard to get up.
Right.
And like, we ain't got no natural predators. Ain't no natural predators like pandas.
You know what you could do is you go get you a panda at the zoo. Go ask Joe Exotics. He's selling tigers for $2,000. You might be able to get a panda for around that same price. And that motherfucker will keep your garden nice and pruned.
It will. And here's the thing, Brandon. The panda's so fucking lazy. You ain't got to worry about eating your kids or nothing. It ain't trying to digest no meat.
Yeah. You ain't got to worry about the motherfucker trying to escape.
You got to treat the panda like someone that's like 85 grandparent, right? Like, when they lose their appetite, the 85-year-old grandparent, 90-year-old, they lose their appetite. You worry they ain't getting enough nutrition because they getting full. Like my dad's turning 80 this year. He get full off, a 1.5 eggs and a half a piece of toast for breakfast. And it's just like, my mom's like, I'm worried about his nutrition. Panda's the same way. You got to worry about their nutrition. Next thing you know, you feeding the panda Pediasure.
You just keep them locked up in the upper room.
You don't have to lock a panda up. It's too fucking lazy.
It might try and climb over the fence to get to the other bamboo, but they're clumsy also. So it probably all you gotta do is make a little wobble in there, and they'll probably fall back over and say fuck it. Yeah, pandas lazy, man. I was looking through GIFs when I made one of those videos, and it took me like the only video I found of pandas having sex was like one, and that was it.
How much would we have to pay you for your internet search history? Just play it on the podcast.
Well, it usually is reflected on the videos and the topics that come up on the podcast, and typically when Aaron goes on one of his perverted tangents. So
Strange collection of searches.
Yeah, they're like, why is Mia Khalifa, Michelle Watterson, and Pandas on Jared?
You brought up every one of those. He brought up every one of those. Always that shit he brings up. He brought up Mia Khalifa. I never bring up Mia Khalifa, especially Mia Khalifa. But the other ones, Michelle Watterson, I had a little doing with that, right? You asked me a question, I answered it. I probably went on a rant. Okay. Mia Khalifa, you brought that up. I don't wish to talk about that woman.
No, it came up in conversation.
If I don't say her name for the rest of my life, I'll be happy.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will. You won't be happy.
You enjoy bad-mouthing that woman.
Our audience might not be happy. I don't like foul-mouthing people, but if I got to foul-mouth them, I'll foul-mouth them. Every album, R. Kelly had a song that was like a religious song that was on this album. And I was like, I don't think we should sing it in church, though.
This his way of asking for forgiveness for the way he feels. He's like, I still feel like a 13-year-old child because I'm attracted to all these young women.
He has a song that has me confused. I don't know how to act. It's called Religious Love, right? Yeah. It sounds religious, but then again, you sitting there and you're like, is it religious? I mean, it's a good song. It's a great song. R. Kelly's best album.
All I know is that it's all about interpretation. Like, even with the Bible, some of the stories in the Bible, especially the Old Testament, were like pretty, cutthroat motherfuckers, being put to death and shit, right? And so you got that shit, you got some of that shit going on. So I think it's all up to interpretation. So a lot of people took that as like, a way to create serenity and peace in their life, to follow this Bible, even though the Bible talked about, stoning people and treating women as property in some ways. And
the Old Testament was hardcore, man. So you know what? I don't want to go into religion. I know I can be in the Baptist myself, getting an argument with a lot of other Christians about. I was like, man, you realize how much God did to quote Jason Kidd, God did a 360, right? So you know how much God did a 360 from the Old Testament to the New.
What movie was that? The Last Action Hero. He's like, but you do 360 on me. All of a sudden, you tried to kill me. He's like, no, motherfucker, it's a 180. I should have been dying. But you do the 360 on me.
That's what Jay Kidd said when he won Rookie of the Year.
Jay Kidd ain't the sharpest one out there.
Oh, no, it was when he got drafted when he said the 360. When he got drafted, and it was draft day, they brought him to the podium, and then, they do the interview on the side. It's like, so how it's like, man, I plan on getting there and, just trying to help this franchise do a full 360. Thanks to Tony Braxton, he did.
Yeah, he didn't see. The problem is he didn't take any of those geometry and just basic algebra classes. He had the tutors taking care of those for him, and from middle school on,
from elementary on. I was like, man, he can hoop.
He can hoop. He can hoop real good.
That's why they made sure he went to Skyline. It's like, no, he went to Skyline with St. Joe's.
Yeah, he went to like St. Joe's.
Where the hell is St. Joe's?
It's like, is that Alameda or is it in Oakland or Alameda? I think one of them somewhere. Yeah, somewhere. I don't know. It's around.
Oh, yeah, it's in Alameda.
Well, y'all ready to start the show?
Yeah, I was born ready.
Today we're coming back. We have not done a quick hitters in a couple weeks. We're doing quick hitters today. Brandon, I need a letter.
We're gonna go with I. Ignatius Iguanas.
Ignatius. Wait, you mean like Ignacio Valley? Like that's a Y.
No, that's
no, like Ignacio. Ignacio
is with the Y.
No, Ignacio's an I. Ignacio's an I.
All right.
Threw Jeff for a loop.
Yep, he get even Ignacio and Ignacio. Ignacio, I used to have a boy named Ignacio. Call him Nacho.
Impotent investigations, irritably iridescent.
Wow. Intermittent.
Itineraries imbibing igloo ice. Enrique Iglesias.
You don't know his Spanish alphabet, Jared.
Iglesias is the I, bro. And I'm gonna say that Enrique Iglesias. He's not Enrique, he's Enrique. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us on @HighScore510 on the YouTube, the Instagram, and the Twitter. You can also check us out at highscore510.com, where you can get all our content. And you can also email the show if you have any questions on any of those platforms in our DMs, or at highscore510.fans@gmail.com. We are here with...
This is Aaron Grayson III, also known as AG Smooth, coming at you faster than Dana White, trying to get a vaccine after hosting that UFC this weekend.
Sick of you poaching my customers.
I'm sick of your crybaby bullshit.
You want to take the shit outside? You want to just take it outside and just squash it?
No, let's stay inside so everybody can see what a pussy you have, okay? Because when I remove the blade I keep in my boot from its sheath, I can't return it until it has spilled blood.
Okay, listen to me. You are fucking with the wrong nigga.
Hey, you're fucking with the wrong son, nigga, okay?
Dude, I will hang your old ass by your turban.
Oh, turban now. Do you see any fucking turban here? Do I talk like a turban guy? Do I say, hey, Jay, do you want a Slurpee? You want a Slurpee? Fuck you, okay? I was born in Brooklyn, okay? My accent is a fucking Brooklyn accent, okay?
You know, I'm glad that line was said by that Indian dude and not the other one. Because you know what happened to the other? Remember, there's two Indian dudes working in the store.
Yeah, there's the one that buck teeth.
That was the older guy that did that line.
Yeah.
The other guy is in prison now.
For what?
He stabbed and killed his wife shortly after that movie. It wasn't even long.
That would have been really ironic. Maybe.
I don't when I was put on his sheath until we get blood. Man, he did that with his wife. He stabbed and killed her ass.
He pulled a Michael Jace.
Yeah, he pulled a Michael Jace.
I think that's one of the more underrated movies to come out in the last 10 years. I feel like it's the white coming to America.
Dude, it's 2005.
It's
You know,
2005?
they did it. You know, it was one of Paul Rudd's coming out parties and Seth Rogen's coming out party. All right, and we are here with...
Yeah, this is Brandon, aka Taco Pablo, just trying to keep everything organized. But I'm failing.
You shouldn't even be hanging out with this pervert.
I don't hang out with him. I work with him, and that's it. I tried to introduce him to a few nice people. He made a fool of himself. I don't mess with him, baby. That's not me.
You should keep your hoe on a leash.
Oh, bro, I can't let you...
Hey.
I can't let you be talking to my woman like that, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Bitch is running wild, man.
There you go, Brandon.
Thank you. It's one of the first time I've sent Jared a clip, and he's put it in the show.
I always put it in the show if I can. You put it early enough. Give me some,
at least he put it in with me. He be complaining that the sound was off, and then told me I had to download it to MP3 myself and shit like that.
Aaron be sending me a whole goddamn thing from a Siegfried and Roy show where somebody said something in the background. He'd be like, "Hey, get that sound." I'm like, "Nigga, there's tigers jumping, there's explosions, there's loud music playing, and it's in a crowd of 20,000 people. I can't isolate that sound." He'd be like, "Why not? Why not?" I could hear
straight jewels, Brandon.
I could hear Flavor Flav say "motherfuck him" and John Wayne while a bunch of things are banging and clanging and other shit's going on in the.
Don't worry, be happy was the number one jam. Hey, let me tell you something, Brandon. I'll be dropping the jewels I'll be giving Jared. If we wasn't going through this epidemic, he'd go to pawn shop and be a rich man.
Take me to hard. Aaron would send me to hardcore pawn on accident.
Rich man.
And my name is Jared, aka DJartt, with 2 T's for a double dose of that ting ting. The D is silent, so it's just Jart.
You know that at least 75% of bitches suffer from some kind of hearing loss. This alarming statistic means that more likely than not, talking isn't the most effective way to communicate with a bitch. That's when you have to hit her.
Whoa, what?
You tell her what you want her to do. If she say no, hit the bitch. Simple.
But I couldn't hit Sarah. I couldn't hit any woman.
Has not hitting the bitch been working? I mean, scientifically speaking, has not hitting the bitch achieved the desired results?
That's ridiculous. Cool. Shout out to Boondocks sponsorship. Shout out to Lil Richard and your boy, was it Ben Stiller's dad? What's his name? Lou Stiller? Frank Stiller?
Yes, Doctor, you fucking up, dude. Go on, God. Jerry Stiller, dude.
Jerry Stiller, yes, Jerry Stiller. Shout out sponsorship. R.I.P. to him.
I was gonna say Betty White or
I know. You might as well just say Betty White.
Did Betty White die?
Yeah.
When?
This weekend.
No.
Betty White died? Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, Betty White.
I didn't hear nothing about Betty White. See, that's the problem. See, nobody said nothing about Betty. Are you sure Betty White died?
Is it Betty Wright? Betty White.
I did not have Betty White
I
dead,
didn't see nothing about Betty White. I feel like we would have seen something about Betty White dying because she's a funny
Betty
lady.
Betty White started a new film in 90. Yeah, that shit would be on the news now, Brandon.
Yeah.
My bad.
Brandon, you get a magic moment for killing somebody that's still alive. Hold on.
You're right.
You worse than when Sid.
Who did you read?
Betty Wright.
Betty Wright? Who the fuck is that?
It hurt. No pain, no gain.
Play the magic moment, please.
All right, Brandon, you get a magic moment for misreading.
This magic moment.
Yeah.
You worse than CNN when Thomas Ford from Martin died and they put up a picture of Morris Chestnut.
Clean up woman. Tonight's the night. Anyway, I would figure Jared would listen to that type of music.
Oh, that I'm a clean up woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that song, but Betty Wright. Shout out.
Oh yeah, she died.
R.I.P. Yeah, R.I.P. to Betty Wright. But Little Richard, a cultivator of rock and roll music. Man, that's some sad news. That's our first news topic. Little Richard passes away.
And rock and roll androgyny.
Yeah, I saw this clip about him performing and being very flamboyant and feminine. And he was talking on the Letterman show, and he was like, when I was just me as Richard, a black man, they didn't want to play me. They wouldn't play me. They didn't want me performing in front, especially the white women. But then when I started acting flamboyant, I put on the makeup and I, feminized myself, they were okay with me playing because I wasn't a threat to the white women. So that was actually a really interesting component of like how much was it him self-actualizing, and also how much of it was maybe him being able, like playing to what was allowable to actually get him out there.
How many of his songs? I was shocked when I was looking up somebody else's music. It was some old song. And I was like, what? This was Little Richard wrote this song and performed this song first? Man, he's right. I hate to say he went to his grave. If he rolling over, I'm going to roll him over right and tell everybody he was the most stolen artist out there whose music was stolen, borrowed, and not getting his royalties, his respect. Until Puffy came around, he was the most stolen. Puffy came around and stole the most.
Little Richard didn't know his masters until Michael Jackson bought him back in the 90s or whatever, when he get part of that Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
So back in the day, like people were selling his music or selling the rights to his music. He wasn't getting any of that money from all the people.
In LA on TV, they be selling niggas.
Exactly. That was poetic justice for Paul McCartney and those damn Beatles. Poetic justice. They stole Little Richard music. They stole that. And when they were finally trying to get their rights, Paul McCartney went and told Michael Jackson about it. Because he told Michael Jackson because he thought Michael would buy it for him. And he was like, man, Michael was rich. I thought he'd give me the money or something. Michael went there and bought that shit for himself. Great move, Michael.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Michael Jackson will always keep his black card in my books for that one thing he did. You know what I'm saying? Because the Beatles were out here being like,
niggas won't mind.
Just for doing that, I made sure Little Richard knew, Michael, when he get to heaven, get you a big stack of propofol. You're going to get that God propofol.
Hey.
You got that best sleep.
That shit is crazy, though, because when you think about it, like Little Richard was naming off the people, like Jimi Hendrix was one of his guitarists, came up under him. The Beatles came up under him. He named like several like very big artists, like influential artists that were all came up underneath him and played for him or with him. And we're like, he was like their stepping stone. So Little Richard has has a really big impact on the formation of rock and roll, modern rock and roll, the classic rock and roll into the modern rock and roll, in just like the performance component and the presentation to the music and the soul put into the music. When I heard he died, like it kind of came to like I was thinking about it. It's like he never got the credit. I think he got credit in the circles who knew he was the man, right? But in the bigger scope of society, he was always seen as a novelty. I feel like more. So that's the vibe I got, is that he's more of a novelty. He was an icon, but he was an icon more as a novelty. And part of me feels like part of it was because of the flamboyance and I don't know. Was that motherfucker gay?
Don't know. That's what I said. He was the king of androgyny. He needs to get his props for that. All them fools out there, whatever, Shawn Mendes, all the other androgynous performers, Prince that came along after him.
Yeah, Prince for sure.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, who we don't know. all them androgynous performers need to bow down and give Little Richard his props for making it acceptable for you to come in with your androgynous. I'll give Prince a little props because there still wasn't a world that was accepted then either.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was at the concert, his first concert. He was opening for the Beatles at the LA Sports Arena, where the Clippers used to play. He wasn't open for the Beatles, excuse me, Rolling Stone. And Prince came out wearing a woman's blouse and like so, just a woman's blouse and so like some thigh-high stockings on, right? Mm. And my brother's like, "Oh, this ain't gonna be good," right? Prince, I think he said he made it through. He made it through one song or didn't even make it through the first song. He got booed off stage. It's known. It's like in the papers. He got booed off stage at the LA Sports Arena. It's like, man, those crowds are a bunch of rockers. He's like, I was in there with a bunch of white rockers, and then all of a sudden, this fool come out wearing this. And I was like, damn it, Prince. Lost my money on that one. It's a Little Richard androgyny. I don't know if he was gay. I don't care. He made great music. He kept me entertained, especially during the 80s. When you guys were just born or before when you guys were real young, there used to be a lot of variety shows on. And like during the holidays, things like this. And you always brought like all these performers together and actors, and they would do a variety show for like Christmas or Easter, or just the holiday time. And he would be one of those people that was always on them performing, and just it was entertaining.
Yeah. You think about like how young, like him, like probably Stevie Wonder, some of these artists who started young and like they're aging like gracefully, or they're aging and been decades as performers, and like how much more talented they are than like the teenagers who are being put on nowadays. Like there's some talented teenagers that are musicians, but like we're in the viral era where everyone who's being put on, especially in like hip hop and pop music, is like, talented to varying degrees, but the talent that you had to have to be able to play an instrument, to write, compose music, that some of these people were able to, is like it's stunning versus what you see nowadays, where everyone's overproduced and they don't have to put in half that work.
And don't forget, they used to manage their bands too. People like Little Richard, James Brown, Ray Charles. They managed, when they wrote the music, they also did the practice. They managed the band. They managed the practice. They managed the personalities. Yeah. They picked the band. They kicked people out that, some of them have rules about drugs and this and that. Some of them got caught up later on. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Those were real, not to say that people performing now ain't real, like performers, but those people really exuded the talent. You had to really be talented to make it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tekashi 6ix9ine just came out with a new song. I saw it on the internet pop up on my feed. I actually clicked on it because I thought it looked funny because he had women.
Because there was a Skittle roll.
Yeah, it looked like Skittle roll. And I was like,
is it because they were twerking?
No, I can't stand twerking. Jared. You know me, man. Come on, let's be serious. That twerking shit don't do it for me.
But they were still scantily clad.
I wasn't, to be honest, that wasn't catching on.
I came for booty.
And I saw it and I was like, what the fuck? It popped up on my feed because I like to see this one, I like watching the reaction videos on YouTube when people listen to songs for the first time. Mm-hmm. And especially like sometimes I watch this, especially when it's I watch this. Like I love watching the one when black people listen to Righteous Brothers for the first time. Mm-hmm. Especially black people who ain't never, heard a white person sing before. And to see their face. Dude, one black girl started crying when they were singing that song. When they were singing You Lost That Love and Feeling. One black dude was like, they got soul. He was like, wait, I heard the song before. I never knew they were white.
Baby.
Oh, when they break it down like that, exactly. I beg you, please. Yeah. The other dude hitting the falsetto. And then he was just, you see their eyes get big. So I was watching, it's this one, there's a couple of white people that I like to watch. One is a couple, and they always listen to like rap. Like they basically got into it by doing these videos. And then one of them was it was Tekashi 6ix9ine. And I was like, what's this fool even sound like? I barely heard him talk.
He does a lot of yelling.
What does he sound like? He was yelling that whole thing and saying some stupid shit.
Gingerbread cookies make me boogie.
Dude, he talked about the coronavirus in that song where they just like
he has simple ass rhymes, but he yells.
He yells. And he talked about snitching on people. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no.
Come on.
You heard he broke the record for the IG Live this past week or past weekend.
For what? Snitching?
The record viewers when he went on IG Live for the first time. He had the most.
When was he on the Breakfast Club? Because Kevin and Chris was arguing that when we were sitting there on Call of Duty this morning.
He like a year before he got arrested.
Yesterday? No, he was on it recently.
Oh, recently, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I know he was on there talking about they can't touch me. I'm too, blah blah, and he was kind of flaunting that, nobody was gonna be able to get him and for stuff, and he always, he's too smart to get caught, and then he got caught, and then he snitched. So
yeah,
fuck Scotch 6ix9ine. But snitching. I have my views on snitching. What is snitching? What really constitutes snitching? And I have a higher opinion of what constitutes snitching.
Please tell us about it, Jared.
No, you're right. It was a couple of years ago, Jared. It was a couple of years ago. He was.
It's not a big deal, but like if you doing dirt with other motherfuckers and then you take a deal to get less time than all those motherfuckers and you sell them out, that's snitching. If you are somebody who has no part in what's going on and you don't like that shit being around you and people are crossing boundaries and lines and social norms because they want to be that dude, then if you tell on them or you inform somebody of that, that's not snitching. That's you saying, I don't want this shit in my community. I don't want this shit present in my space. This is a shared space.
Is that what you do to the bar across the street from your house?
Never call the police. There's only been there's been like 2 nights where I contemplated calling. Or
you've been in there late, so how could you've been one of the motherfuckers before? I'm 100% with Jared's definition. I agree to it too. If you're doing dirt, and I hate when I hear the kids use the word snitch. I'm like, you're not using it right. It's not someone who tells on you. Telling is like if there's someone dealing crack underneath my window. And I got a bunch of crack pipes and a bunch of heroin needles when I go outside trying to walk my dog and shit. And I tell police, hey man, can you come watch this shit? That ain't snitching. That's just me wanting my life to be better than what it is and wanting my neighborhood to be better. I'm with Jared. Snitching is you do a crime with someone and you getting less time. That's what a snitch is. That's the true definition of the word snitch. Vocabulary is a great thing. Vocabulary was originally used. There's a reason why the English language has more words than almost any language out there. It's like 5 times the amount of Spanish and all the older languages. It was a way of separating the aristocrats and the elites from the poor. They would come up. That's why, like, when you see geese on the ground, someone told me this recently, when you see geese on the ground, it has a different name. It's not the same. There are only a gaggle of geese when they're in the air. When on the ground, there's another name for them. It was a way of separating the elite. And that's why snitching, we got to understand, I got to try to break this down to my people. Snitching is a term that was created. It's another term that was created for when you are ratting someone out to the police. And it's not even a rat. A rat means you didn't get caught. You're also doing dirt and you're trying to be a rat so I can maybe get these corners over here. Snitching is when you get caught and you're taking less time.
Yeah. And tattletaling is just when it's like something that you can look past and like it's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
it's breaking a norm. It's breaking like that person jumped the turnstile at the bar. Like, did they do anything else over that? No. Or that dude is eating a breakfast sandwich at 4 p.m. on the BART track. Somebody probably tattled on him.
He did not get tattled. He got warned. All he had to do was put the shit in his fucking pocket. He got warned. And then it's funny when you see the video. The cop at first told him, just put it away, man. Just put it away. He still was arguing. He wouldn't put it away. Then he got a ticket. Lucky it wasn't me. I might have shot his ass.
We know what you want to do here. We know.
I shot him in the ass. I wouldn't have killed him. I would have shot him in his ass. So it hurts when he sits down. Shoot him in his ass.
Back to Little Richard. A professor at University of Miami, John Peng Zhang. I know how to pronounce my Chinese brethren's names. Resigned last week after a TikTok of a student revealed he had a tab open while sharing his browser on Zoom for class. The tab was labeled "Busty College Girls."
He had to resign for that? I mean, it's his computer. I mean, yeah, you should. You could reprimand him, maybe even suspend him for a semester or something. You got to resign for that, man. A tab open? It wasn't like it was child porn.
He had the tab open. I mean,
let's face it.
It wasn't showing. It was one of the tabs, obviously, but it was on the bar of tabs that you could see the labels on, right?
And let's face it, man. Busted college girls, man. Most of them are probably old. Most of them are over 24, man.
Aaron's like, I know. I've seen Girls Gone Wild. I owned 3 box sets of it. It was all.
Man, you keep cheapening my pervertedness, and I'm really getting upset. For starters, I don't like my pervertedness to be always out there. But then if you're gonna put it out there, don't cheapen it. That's making me seem sick, man. You cheapen it first with the Mia Khalifa. and everything else. You cheapen it by saying I'm watching a Tekashi 6ix9ine and see scantily clad women. Why would I want to watch that ignorant fool? And those women, those weren't even my type. They weren't ugly though. They were beautiful women, but they were not my type. That's Kevin type.
They were definitely Kevin types.
That's boss Kevin. That's not. And twerking, I'm not a fool. Twerking. Like, I'm yelling at these fools, and they're like, hey, Eric, can you find me some OnlyFans stuff for this? Man, all she's doing is just shaking, man. What I don't do nothing for me, man. Man, shit, man. And so now you're going to sit here and cheapen me even more and say, I'm watching Girls Gone Wild. Like this is fucking 1998.
No. I didn't say that you watch it now, but did you?
I seen Girls Gone Wild. I seen about 5 minutes to know I ain't watching this bullshit. What the fuck is this? Girls just showing off, just opening up their shirts at bars? That ain't my type of thing. It was not good enough. It wasn't my type of women. I didn't hit on sorority girls.
Beautiful white women.
That's Sam. Yep, it wasn't my type.
See, I understand why it wasn't Aaron's type, though.
It wasn't my type.
Any Wikipedia pages or profiles that you can learn about their backstory.
Plus, all them stupid ass like sorority girls that were drunk. That wasn't my thing, even in college, man.
Yeah,
that was not my thing. So I mean, like, you know how I saw it. So you're not gonna believe this. I actually own the Jerry Springer, the behind the scene Jerry Springer. I've ordered that online, right? Like drunk one night, ordered that online late at night through an info commercial. So we would watch that with the basketball team on the bus. I would pop it in, because usually we took a charter bus that had TVs. After we'll pop that in and we'll all just laugh. Now somebody did have Girls Gone Wild. I don't know which one of my friends did. We saw that. I saw that change. I was like, man, turn this shit off, man. Put Madden on. This is getting in the way of Madden right now.
All right. Girls Gone Wild or Mia Khalifa?
Can I just read either Dr. Zhivago or the Bible instead? I'll start with Dr. Either one. I'll read it backwards. I'll read those books backwards and see either way. I'll read it front and back. I'll go there first. That's when it's time to evaluate life.
Like, I'm gonna train myself to read it upside down.
That's when it's time to reevaluate life.
Busty college girls. I feel like it's you're in a professional setting. You got to be responsible. But the worst thing he could be doing is sleeping with the students, which a lot of those professors do. So like it's one thing if he was sleeping with the kids versus he actually has a tab open and forgot to close it. Like, yeah, I think him resigning was him just trying to save face and just move on without having to, kick up a bigger storm. So maybe he can get
seeing those same students again.
Yeah.
What school was it?
University of Miami.
So I mean, let's face it, he wasn't a Nobel laureate, right? Like we didn't do somebody working at Stanford, MIT, Harvard.
I'm just trying to figure out the University of Miami kids. They probably see more ignorant shit on a regular basis.
Exactly. It's probably at least 2 women that sat in that building was in one of those videos.
I bet you like half the class probably had other tabs open that were way worse than busty college girls during the class.
Exactly. Some people we know in college probably had that open and more. Probably had OnlyFans open.
Mm-hmm. But I understand though. Like it's a way to alienate your female or people who are sensitive about that. Like it will make them definitely feel uncomfortable. So I get it. Like I get that shit happens. It's like, bruh, you don't expect your job to stay there or be there anymore. But I still think it was. I don't know if he necessarily needed to deserve to lose his job over it.
No, I think. I think he probably could have been suspended for a little bit. Like, hey, you can't show this. It'd be the same thing if he had like a picture, like a porn magazine on the back of his screen or something like that. I would equate it to that. Like, hey, just don't do that again.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about
it's his decision to resign though. At the same time, because that stuff gets around real quick around campus, and like everybody knows like you're the dude who had that tab open.
We're talking about a college campus. We're talking about a college campus, man. Brandon, I know you're the family guy now. I don't like busting you out and snitching you out right now. But I remember you telling me a story on when you were no longer playing football, walking around campus, what your goal was walking around campus, right? And your goal was basically the same as my goal. Your goal was the same as my goal, right? We're on a college campus. That is very loud. It's what you know. What if he was a high school teacher or middle school or elementary, then we have problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, it's the reason why I reset my computer every time before I hop on Zoom, except for when I'm on with you guys. Man, you should see my tabs now. You think he resigned? They would have hung me by the same rope that they was getting ready for Bill Cosby if they see my tabs now.
His Aaron was just a couple minutes ago getting mad at me about talking about his interest. We'll call them interest. Cheapening his interest.
You cheapen my interest. If you see my tabs, I ain't cheap at all. I got 6 tabs open, one of them Zoom.
Aaron only watches 4K videos.
4K. High quality.
Let's get into sports, some sports news. So UFC 249 went off without a hitch or a hiccup. Well, there might have been a small hiccup, actually. One of the fighters on the undercard, Jacare Souza, and 2 of his cornermen were diagnosed with the Rona and were pulled off the card immediately. Aside from that, the rest of the card went on without any issue and was performed at an empty stadium that saw Justin Gaethje defeat Tony Ferguson, the number 1 contender in that division. And it also saw Dominic Cruz fall to Henry C. Cejudo, who then promptly retired after winning. Some other fights that were notable on the card was Michelle Watterson lost a split decision to Carla Esperanza Espinosa Esparza. Shout out sponsorship. Brandon, you see the fights?
So I saw the highlights. I saw the condensed version this morning. I had to look at that Francis Ngannou knockout several times. I was like, I thought he took a dive because the first time I saw, I was like, he didn't even get hit. Like he just tripped and just stayed on the ground.
No, that one. He got caught by one. Yeah.
He got
First
caught by
3 punches all wet.
Yeah.
And then the 4th one caught him.
The 4th one, which was his 3rd or 4th strongest punch he threw, knocked him out cold.
He was out.
It has to be kind of weird for Ngannou to train that long and then only fight for 20 seconds. He has to go fight somebody in the parking lot later. Like he has to get that energy out somehow.
It's a good feeling though. I don't know. Maybe that's how most of them. Is that the reason why most of them might beat their partners?
Maybe. Or even a dude that trained that long and got knocked out in 20 seconds. Like, what does he do now? Like,
yeah.
The best shape I'm going to be in.
I tell you, the person that should complain more would be the people that spar with my man. Like, hey, man, I lasted longer for that sparring with him, man.
Can I get that money?
More money? Yeah, can I get his money for getting knocked out that soon?
Yeah, the man of mayhem at Fabian Gibb on Twitter posted something saying that Rosenstruck, who got knocked out by Ngannou, got paid $22,000 for that fight. And I was like, bro, that's not enough money because the CT scans, and the ambulance ride, the saline IVs he gonna need,
COVID tests,
the COVID
test, brain,
the extended stay potentially to make sure they have to do more scans to release him from being knocked the fuck out is gonna cost them at least $15,000 to $20,000. So he's basically making no money to go down there and get his ass whooped.
Yeah, $22,000, dude. These UFC people in the wrong business,
bruh. I was like 22. Like I understand if you can fight and make 20. Say you can fight. The average fighter fights 3, maybe 4 fights a year. Mainly
say
3
to 4. Yeah.
You make $22,000 a fight. That's $66,000 a year. You're paying taxes on it, and you're paying your trainers. You're not making enough money to be in this sport, bro. Like you have to keep another job.
UFC doesn't fly you to the events and doesn't fly you to your training.
UFC doesn't even let you get your own sponsorships anymore, bro. It's all Reebok.
So you don't get sponsorship money. That's all you're getting. So, dude, I don't want to hear no one bitch about football players not getting the money they deserve until we start with UFC, dude.
All right. Other fights. So Michelle Watterson, Aaron, did you see your Michelle Watterson fight? The one
that one wasn't even on the pay-per-view. Yeah, that was
free. That was free. Yeah. But what was your take on that fight? Did it live up to what you were hoping for?
It did, as far as she's a very beautiful woman, so I was happy about that. She lived up to that. She lost. I was rooting for her to at least win. And I'm gonna say it didn't live up to what I was looking for, because remember what I said, it didn't reach none of those things. It didn't do none of that thing. I didn't see no coconut oil dripping from the stands. She looked pretty good. Well, they both were two beautiful women, so that I was successful in that. But because of the whole nobody in the audience rules, I didn't get to see her two gorgeous ass sisters either. So, I was kind of disappointed. I mean, and then like she didn't really get an interview because she lost. And what happened was because it was the free one, they weren't really showing the interview process that much after the fight, so I didn't see her talk. The craziest thing was it was a split decision, which always gets me. Why do they call it split decision? And there's 3 refs. It's 3 refs. One ref thought that the other one won. So one ref thought that Watterson won. The other 2 refs thought that. So I know I don't understand why they call it split. That's just one motherfucker that don't agree with 2.
There wasn't any opposing and there wasn't any back-to-back stuff, but they definitely were kicking and throwing at each other. So it was a mildly entertaining fight. I only caught the back end of it, but I didn't get a chance to see all of it.
So since you guys saw the whole live thing, what you guys think about the no crowd? Because you can definitely hear the punches more.
Yeah. A funny thing.
Joe Rogan and DC yelling.
Yeah, DC and Rogan were basically one of the fighters was like, Greg Hardy was like, I want to thank Joe Rogan for giving me, or DC for giving me.
No, DC.
DC. Basically, there was no sound. So everything they were saying, the fighters could hear. So any analysis,
there wasn't like music playing the whole time. Like they would do it.
Nope.
No, something. It was.
I thought they had crowd noise. They should have had crowd noise pumped in because DC said he needed to do something to protect that leg or something. Right?
And it was a leg kick, and he needed to throw more leg kicks.
And his corner said nothing about leg kicks. Right. And at the end of the fight, goes, "I want to thank DC for that tip, man. That was a great tip. Help me win." You're right about that.
And then they're like,
that's how people,
they can hear me?
Well, I heard some more reactions. Like people just compared it to fighting in Japan where they don't cheer at all during the fight. Mm-hmm. They might have a couple of applause breaks, but other than that, people don't cheer.
Yeah.
And so it's basically like that, but they weren't really prepared for them to be able to hear each other's corner or each corner trying to whisper it in between rounds. Hey, you need to try this next round or something like that.
So how do you think that's going to affect other sports that have no fans?
Yeah, it's one thing, because a couple of fights, you could definitely tell the energy was off, right? They weren't, it didn't seem as intense without the crowd, them feeding off the crowd or whatnot. Same thing like WWE when they've been doing their fights. It doesn't seem as exciting without a bunch of other people cheering them on. And some fighters are affected by that. Some fighters don't care. They're going to be super aggressive whether or not anyone's there or not.
Yeah, I think when you see that influence when somebody hits somebody hard and somebody stumbles or somebody gets knocked down and you hear the crowd go crazy, right? For me, I usually watch the fights with no audio anyways because I'm usually, shout out to Seawolf sponsorship, come on our show.
There's audio at Seawolf though, but I mean we hear more fans.
Yeah, you can hear it if you're listening hard to hear it. You'll hear it, but the amount of people talking. The amount of people talking, I'm not paying attention to it so much. I'm more.
But it's like having crowd noise, though. It's the same as having a crowd noise at Seawolf. You feel the energy. I like being at Seawolf. I feel the energy there. As long as I got somewhere I can put my foot down for a second. But I like the energy of the crowd. And this was a test for what the other sports are going to be like. I mean, there's some sports that I know are going to be great without a crowd. NASCAR, they don't need a crowd. You can hear the engine roar. You can't even hear the crowd anyway until an accident happened. Baseball's going to be a little bit, I think, weird. Not because the crowd, there is some energy in the crowd, especially, but usually that comes the later innings.
I think it's gonna be bad because you're gonna hear how dirty mouths the MLB players have. Baseball players are filthy human beings, straight up.
Are.
Well, there's that, and then there's all the stupid dances that are going to come from the dugout now.
Yeah,
they know you can fucking hear it.
Chad, hit that show, bro. Grab my nuts. Hey, man, your sister was teabagging these nuts the other day, bro. Good home run.
See, I think basketball works because they play music while the game's being played. Football, we hear everything anyway because everybody's fucking mic'd up. And they got that big ass mic.
Parabolic mic.
That thing picks up everything.
Conspiracy Brother thinks this is all just a big experiment on the peoples and how much the government could put limitations and new parameters and how society will then evolve amongst that. Because no matter what, we are a biological organism known as society, and we're going to find a way to evolve and navigate around our restrictions to thrive in a way that is, sometimes frivolous, but but most most opportune for what it is that we're trying to do.
Come on, man.
I did not mean to hit that. But like society will evolve the way it needs to evolve, and I think that sports in this new format is not going to be that big a deal. It's going to be different. It's not ideal to forever, but for the time being, like they realize that they can pull off an event, they're going to do it with fans or no fans, and they can pump in music, they can pump in sound. They might even create new ticket options and venues based upon what they're able to experiment with now. So, Conspiracy Brother thinks that this is all just an elaborate hoax to see what they can get out of the sports world without allowing fans in the joint.
I don't think that Atlantis sank. I think Atlantis lifted off.
So you think they killed?
Man, where the hell is that quote from?
Let's get back to UFC real quick. One takeaway I had, and you guys could share any other ones you might have seen, was that Henry Cejudo is still not entertaining, even when he's trying to surprise us by retiring. And he got lucky that
I'm trying to figure out why you don't like him that much.
Because he's corny and he's not that great. And he beat the original champion. He beat Demetrius Johnson when Demetrius Johnson was injured and hurt, right? And he barely beat him at that. Secondarily, Demetrius Johnson had already beat him before that. But Demetrius Johnson left the promotion because he used to be sponsored by Xbox, right? When the UFC used to let you be sponsored by outside sponsors. And then when UFC went to Reebok, they took like millions of dollars out of his pocket because he was basically the one dude who was sponsored by Xbox, right? And so that's a big deal. Like it's like one of those things where like you have some top tier talent, you have some elite fighters, you don't prop them up and promote them properly, and then you take away their ability to have outside sponsors, which helps them supplement only getting paid $22,000 to do an event that's probably not a good idea and get your ass knocked out for the next 3 weeks. See what
Jared did there just now?
Yeah.
Like he said everything but Dana White. He's like, why don't you like that dude? He took 3 minutes to talk about all the reasons he doesn't like Dana White.
You see how agitated he is now? I know. Let's make lemonade.
But yeah, no, Dana White's a douchebag, bro. Whatever. Fuck that fool. Dana White can eat a dick. Shout out sponsorship though. If you would love to sponsor, we'd take your money. Other thing my takeaway was that Justin Gaethje is way more badass and way tougher than I thought he was. I've seen him take some punishment. And I've seen him also like get knocked out, crumble like in one fight, but most times he takes a lot of punishment and ends up finishing guys. But how crispy he was with his punches, and how well he timed Tony Ferguson, how well he took Ferguson's punishment, and then paced himself to last all 5 rounds and always be winning the rounds with significant strikes. He didn't let Ferguson, walk him down and overwhelm him, as which Ferguson does to a lot of fighters. It was just cool to see. And at first I wasn't super juiced about the Gaethje coming in, but I thought about it and it was like, this could be an interesting fight just because, they both like to pressure their opponent and wear him down. And it was crazy to see Tony Ferguson, never really backed down or anything, never broke down. His body started breaking down, but never like his mentality never broke down. But to see somebody do that to Tony Ferguson, the way Ferguson has done it to a lot of other fighters.
Yeah, I don't know. Ferguson broke his orbital bone, so he might be out for a little bit.
Yeah, 6 months probably.
He didn't broke it. He got it broken.
he got hit and he shook his head like, what's that on my eye? What's that on my eye? Like that's the bone protruding, starting to go in the wrong place.
Your eyeball not held in properly.
He's like shaking it, like get back into place. It's like it's loose in there. He just kept going. Tony Ferguson's crazy. He's a crazy guy.
Yeah. The next card's gonna be even crazier. He's gonna start pumping out these fights every week. Gotta get to 40 by December.
They'll do it.
What number are they at now?
Francis Ngannou on every card though. Like I feel like he has like a certain buzz around him, and since these fights are only last 20 seconds, he's gonna be on every card.
What was one of your things, Aaron?
Couple takeaways. One is that UFC, obviously fighters don't know when to call it over. Like my takeaways was the 2 guys that got their fight stopped in the middle. One being Ferguson and the other guy. Who's the other guy again?
Nico Price.
Because he was kind of like still trying to defend. He wasn't doing a great job defending himself, but he was trying to get to his knees.
Oh, you talking about? No, you talking about what's his name? Dominic.
Yeah.
Oh, him.
Yeah, he was still trying to argue like, I told the ref, don't stop it until I'm knocked out. stop it if I'm knocked out. Like, don't stop it. If I'm not knocked out, keep it going. I'm like, dude, these fools not believing brain damage. I mean, just to is there a T-shirt I can, hey, stop it before I'm knocked out that I can wear? Like, do not resuscitate.
You can wear one of those heart bracelets.
Yeah. Hey, man, now it's time to stop this shit, man.
You got a heart condition, you got a blood condition, you got a disability. No, he wants you to stop before you get dead.
Stop that shit. He said he get punched 3 times in a row. Stop it. And Ferguson said the same thing. Like, man, I'm just mad he stopped it. Dude, you got your fucking face beat in. Your face got beat in. You were supposed to be the favorite, and he was beating your face in. It had to be stopped.
Yeah.
So, and then my other takeaway is that I found out this morning that basically Dana White had a strict, even though it was a few media people there, he had a strict. They had to sign a waiver clause, including the
non-disparaging agreement, right?
Yeah, but it was more than the normal one. And Dana was like, "We do this for every fight." But then who was it? It was either New York Times or someone got a hold of it and was like, "No, we got a hold of both the one before and this one." Mm-hmm. And it was a lot more. Like, they couldn't voice anything. They can't even report if they do catch it, right?
Yeah.
They can't report that it had anything or that it came from. They can't report how many tests they are doing afterwards and things like that. It was a really withhold of information. This is supposed to be like the blueprint for the rest of sports opening up, but then we're not getting the truth out of Dana White, which is not surprised. But
that was kind of shady. I know that was Conspiracy Brother thinks that they already knew Jacare had it, and they're like, Jacare, come. We know you got it. We'll put the fight card on there. We'll let Uriah Hall know, who's mediocre anyways. We'll pay you guys for trying to make this happen. But you come here, Uriah. You're not going to fight because we're going to announce that he has COVID. Just be honorable about it. Don't make a big stink about it. And you come, we'll test you. We already know you got it. We'll announce you got it, but we'll show that our testing is working and we've caught somebody. And if nobody else gets it after this, then we'll prove that we can do this safely and properly. And it's basically going to be like Steamboat.
That's your conspiracy brother right there.
That's
the conspiracy brother that's reasonable, but other shit.
Hey, conspiracy brother. Hey, conspiracy brother. Back to your boy, Aaron, Dominic Cruz. Mm-hmm. He was complaining about, he's the one that's saying, I was on my way up. I was not going down. I understand if I was going down, like you call it, but I was working my way to get on my knees. I was on my knees getting ready to stand up, and he was mad about that. So Keith Peterson tweeted a picture of Dominic Cruz with this crooked face after getting kneed in the face when he fell over. Mm-hmm. He had the stroke face going on. And anyways, it says, me in the morning after a night of drinking and smoking.
Yeah, he did that. The referee did that himself.
The referee. That's the dude who was like talking. He's like, all right, guys, none of this.
I like how I thought by stopping the fight, I stopped you from getting CTE, but I guess not. He's talking shit. I like that.
All right, quick hitters. Let's get the quick hitters. Quick hitters is our popcorn segment where we basically talk about a topic, jump around, pop in if you have something to say about it. We usually lampoon it, lambaste it, and just ask questions or just joke about whatever the topic is. Have a good time with it. So, quick hitters. Quick hitters.
Quick hitters.
Bang, 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 bang.
Cam Newton remains unsigned. Is it because he's too much of a diva, he needs to be a starter, or he's a toxic locker room presence?
Oh no, I think he's definitely a starter. And then no one can really work him out or talk to him in person and really get his personality.
Oh, he studies. He puts in the work. The problem is he had an injury. It was the worst time for him to come off his injury is with the COVID and become a free agent.
Shout out to Cam Newton. It's great to realize that you're a Negro.
Because I feel like if you just read what people say about Cam Newton, or you just see like some random videos, you think he's an asshole. But I think if he's able to get into a room with somebody and actually have a conversation, then I think his energy is different.
As quarterback in this league, and that once you lose your original starting job, you got to dig some troughs before you get a chance to start again, unlike people like Jay Cutler. Shout out, sponsorship.
Wait, Teddy Bridgewater got another shot, man.
It took him a couple years of digging troughs as the backup.
Because he broke his leg almost came off.
Shout out to Cam Newton. Hey, you know what? I got a great job for you. It's called working at Joann's Fabrics and working on, helping equip people with scarf material because you seem to be really good at wearing that. Shout out to Cam Newton for being the one quarterback to not step into his throws and just use all shoulder, thus needing shoulder surgery because he was throwing the shit out of the ball with only his shoulder.
Ben Roethlisberger been throwing with just his shoulders for 14 years. He just got hurt this year.
It's physics, just like Eli Manning ruining all his receivers' ankles and lower legs. Nicolas Cage is set out to portray Joe Exotic in a Tiger King TV series, scripted TV series.
See, it was reported that a lot of big-time actors were interested. I think they saw how much money they were going to get paid, and they opted out.
Perfect casting. You want someone whose life just has been as crazy and interesting as the person he's portraying, and they got it.
Well, let's just say method acting will not be an issue for Nicolas Cage in this role.
I was actually hoping for Giovanni Ribisi. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't think people are going to be as interested in a scripted movie though.
And you know this. You know Nicolas Cage is going to ad-lib, which is going to be even greater.
See, I know Nicolas Cage ain't really getting into a cage with a tiger every day to shoot a movie, so it's going to be all CGI action.
It's going to be some bad CGI because they ain't going to spend that much money on a Nicolas Cage movie. I saw that he got the role, and I was like, oh, man, it's perfect because it gives him a reason to date another person 20, 30 years younger than himself. I was like, he gets to play a role, well, except in this case, it's going to be other men who are 20, 30 years younger than him. But it is what it is. Nicolas Cage likes that young meat.
Not as much as
you say the same thing like
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, that's exactly the one. Yeah, he's worse than Nick Cage. Leonardo DiCaprio has not dated anyone over 24 in his life.
And they all look 16. On a movie-related note, should I watch this Rambo Last Blood movie? Because I almost turned it on last night.
Yes, put it on. It's a good movie. Just put on, like, not get too serious about. Enough action, enough of a story to be like,
So is it better or worse than Taken 3?
It's not as bad as the other Rambo where he was, the other one they did some years ago where he was still living in
where he was living like a
boat in Asia.
Yeah.
And he had a Gatling gun and he just mowed down a field of Asians. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
wasn't he doing like fighting?
Now he's just killing Mexicans. Though.
Now he's just killing a team of Mexicans who, by the way, if you see one of the scenes, a bunch of Mexicans pull up in a bunch of SUV caravan, maybe like a dozen to like 18 Mexicans get out of the cars. He murdered at least 38 people.
Anyone ever seen First Blood, the original movie?
A long time ago.
Great movie. The original ending was he shot himself at the end, but the studio didn't want to do it. They didn't know how it was going to go. Because don't forget, only one person died in the first movie. It was only one death. That was a really, real gripping. That's a great movie. I love that movie. Mm-hmm. But then the studio was like, no, we can't have him dying at the end. So they shot two endings, one where he turned himself in and one where he committed suicide. The original one was supposed to commit suicide. Studio was like, let's hold on to this just to see where it goes. And then they're like, have him get arrested. And then they just started making profits and shitty movies and Rambo mowing down a race of people every movie.
Well, let me just kill a small village of people or a large village, your choice. Dude, I was like, how many Cambodians can he shoot in one scene?
Right. How big is this army?
Dude, I was like, this is getting repetitive after a minute. They just kept showing the same scene in full. One row of people mowed down. Another row of people mowed down. And it's all rice patty and straw kicking up in the air. I was like, oh shit, blood and rice patty straw. It's crazy. Shout out to John Rambo. Sponsorship. The man that we all laud for being a gunslinger in his football career is nothing but a con man. Brett Favre is linked to an embezzlement scheme of the state of Mississippi's welfare funds. He was paid for 2 appearances, which he did not make. Made over $1 million for those 2 appearances. The other people who involved at the higher up that had paid him were also brought to or have been brought to charges, I believe, for embezzling and misspending the welfare fund in Mississippi.
Right, so was it a charity event that he was the only person benefiting from?
Shout out to Brett Favre for being a conniving, dirty bastard human being who is nothing but a con man.
It's like, how do you make $1 million from the welfare office?
Because his skin is white and bright in 2 shades of white Jesus's light, he gets away with it, and it's okay.
Well, I think we know about the sleaze of Brett Favre. I mean, he was sleazy as the Jets. You know, it's pretty easy when you're in Green Bay. It's not much to do. He was living whatever with his beautiful wife, and then he goes to the Jets. He harasses Jen Seltzer, who's originally one of the famous Florida State cowgirls. Mm-hmm. She was the first famous. She was the one Brett Messburger said that real perverted comment about on air during the Florida State game. But she's working for the Jets. He harasses her, sends her dick pics. She looks like a younger version of his wife. It's pretty wild and crazy. And you're like, okay, yeah, he did this. Never denied it. Yeah, he's been kind of the Teflon Don.
He had an opiate addiction. And granted, I'm not going to hate on somebody for addiction. But he was given. He was able to play. He was able to. It spawns from football, yeah. But like, he wasn't criminalized like fools who would rather smoke weed than take those opiates. He got to go through his dark days of going through that. And like, granted, it's addiction. It's a dark thing. I'm not gonna discount that. But the way they painted him afterwards and how inspirational he was to get over it and this, that, and the other, like other niggas are out of the league because of shit like this. Other niggas are suspended indefinitely because they don't want to take the pain medications, which will make you like Brett Favre and all those other former players. You know what I'm saying? And he got off scot-free, just being like somebody who's abusing opiates. He probably got them illegally too, which could be a very serious crime. But this motherfucker, he supposedly made 2 speaking appearances that he was being paid for, and this fund was paying for it. I don't know why he would be speaking at an appearance that's going to inspire people to get off welfare. I don't know. The money was not going to the welfare recipients, nor the properly allocated thing. It was going towards like fantasy camps for people who were high up and bureaucrats. It was going to like paying all kinds of weird shit, and he was a part of that. He got paid over $500,000 on 2 separate occasions to make appearances and a speech, neither of which he made. Conspiracy brother calling out his white privilege, where he can have that plausible deniability to be like, the white dirty people, corrupt people in our country who have set and founded our country are people who are really good at laundering money and laundering morality. And that is what has happened here. He laundered morality, but like, I didn't know that the money was from this fund.
He's a white guy from Mississippi doing what white guys from Mississippi do.
I don't understand why Jared's so shocked.
It's upsetting. He took $1 million. Think about how many families could have paid rent.
You know how much money probably Reagan and the Bush administration and George Bush and Rumsfeld and all them stole?
Trying to keep it sports. Brett Favre is taking embezzling money from people that he should not be taking money from, and he has the privilege of having his morality laundered, or him taking that money and the moral issue of him being paid for something he did not even do.
I'm not looking at Brett Favre to show me and to show the world how to act morally.
Cal students have recreated the campus in Minecraft so that they can do a final graduation celebration and tour of their campus and live out their graduation dreams via a virtual Minecraft world.
Were the students paid for their efforts? That's what I wanted.
I think it was nice that they took the time to do some shit like that, or whatever nerds or Eeks major did it. I think it's also stupid at the same time. Like, oh, thank you. I can sit here at this virtual graduation.
Whoever made it, kudos to the effort and the detail that probably went into it. I don't know how well it looks, but I'm sure it's probably way better than anything I could do. So kudos to them. I give them credit. But at the same time, that's what your tuition money's for. You guys demand that they create a virtual tour and a virtual graduation that you guys can traverse through that has better resources than some goddamn Minecraft graphics, bro.
It's not going to be the same as being there. It sucks that you're going to miss people. I know people that's going to miss. My niece is one of them that's not going to be able to enjoy her graduation from East Bay this semester. College students, it's sad to say, sorry about all that happened, but this is the world we live in. I can't go to gym. You can't graduate. It sucks.
Minecraft is like the one holdover of like fun gaming that they took from like when I was on computers learning how to use that shit in middle school. I'm like, bro, these graphics is bootleg. Maybe it's vintage.
Good job creating that Minecraft. I'm sure you could have went out and hired a bunch of second and third graders to do that too.
My sister-in-law graduated this Saturday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so I would have to say the experience as someone attending the graduation was flawless. Because number one, didn't have to stare the whole time at the screen. There's a bunch of people on like we did on Zoom, and then we did the whole like share screen on the presentation online.
You didn't have to spend an hour and a half getting ready and then like driving wherever the fuck you got to go. Sometimes several hours away.
Figure out where we're gonna sit. All the shades already been taken.
Yeah.
And clap for everybody after they got done talking.
Right, so where did she graduate from?
Champlain, which is in like Delaware somewhere like that. She did it online.
Okay.
Or whatever. And we were all going to plan to fly out to the East Coast to do this thing, so it saved us thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars, which we don't have.
I have to listen to some weird tangents somebody gets on because after their written speech, I had to be very condensed speech.
Mm-hmm.
Only talk about what I can talk about. When it was over, we didn't have to have an argument about where we're going to go eat or fight traffic, none of that shit. It was a flawless experience.
No hotel expenses either. You guys were fly out there.
Perspective, being a part of that graduation, so like shout out to COVID for that. Let's talk about some of the positives COVID.
Yeah. You know, next week we're gonna do a COVID positive shout out show. We're gonna like try and find the positives what COVID has bestowed upon us. So the homework for this week, guys. I want you guys, Brandon, you're already on a really good track right here. Just think of all the positive things COVID has bestowed upon you. Is it as good as the privilege Brett Favre still lives with? Probably not. Y'all ain't gotta worry about like trying to find an extra ticket to the graduation either.
Right.
They only give me 4 tickets. They only give me 4 tickets. Like, no.
I'm more upset because Brandon, did you watch it? Because I would have put the shit on the screen and left the room, to be honest. Like my niece is graduating, and my sister know better to call me about watching the shit online. Like I'll send a card. I'll put money in the card.
I'll call on the phone afterwards.
You know, she might get $100 out of me, to be honest.
So our last name is Bernardo, so we just assumed like when they did like the roll call. Well, that's another thing. Didn't have to watch everybody walk across stage.
Yeah. Like this
all the silly decorations of people's graduation caps.
That's nice.
You know what? Dealing with parking, I went to a graduation at UOP. Shout out to University Pacific Tigers sponsorship. I went out there last year, and it was number one, Stockton gets hot. Number two, that the parking to get on campus is not nearby. So like if you I saw a lot of old people who were parking a couple blocks away in Stockton heat, having to walk several blocks to get to the on campus to where they could then watch the graduation. So, you know, it's one of those things. You didn't have to worry about going like this while you're sitting there, you know, trying to give yourself shade with the brochure. You know what I'm saying?
Right. In your fucking sports jacket or your fucking button-down shirt.
Yeah. Like, I agree with that. I agree.
With your deodorant. You're like, oh, shit. And the shit was over in an hour.
It was over an hour?
Hour, 20 minutes. I was like, this is fantastic. And dude, no graduation should be in person from now on. I'm just saying.
I agree. I'm going to cover my screen, though. My name going to be on there, but I ain't going to be on.
Aaron's going to have multiple tabs running at the same time.
Now that's when I'm going to have multiple tabs.
He's going to have the screen popped up so you can only see his forehead. You can't see nothing else, but you can see, he for sure can see what's going on the screen. All right. Well, Cuddy Corner shout-outs. Cuddy Corner shout-outs is our segment we close the show out with, where you get a chance to have the floor to yourself and shout something out positive. Usually it's a negative, though, based upon something that is not working, bootleg, or just been frustrating or pissing you off recently. It's derived from some Bammer weed we got in New York from a dealer by the name of Cuddy. Shout out to Darius, Pork Belt, sponsorship. Cuddy Corner shout-outs.
It's time.
We're burning now.
God, if you let it in, help!
So cold and bleeding now.
I'm in for this, man.
Gonna let you down.
He had sex with my mama.
We're broken people now.
I just said I need a
Ooh, Cuddy Corner shout-outs. Aaron, do you have a Cuddy Corner shout-out?
Yeah, my Cuddy Corner shout-out this week goes out to UPS and COVID-19 and their response to it. I usually get all my packages sent to the school. It's great. There's a secretary there. It's there. I don't have to worry about it. It's very stress relief. You don't know how many times I get upset when Jared's like, Aaron, man, I'm going to come late. Man, they drop off the package in front of my house. Just get it sent to the school. We got a secretary, man. It gets signed out. They deliver it early in the morning. They deliver it early because it's considered a business. All business have to be delivered within business times, too. So you don't have to wait on it. Now that I'm here, I haven't ordered anything. But I did have one thing that I thought had to get sent to me. So it got sent to me. And I don't have a doorbell or a call thing here. So there's no way of calling UPS. I'm in an apartment, a 3-story apartment in Oakland, right in the middle of a lot of walkway, a very, very commonly used walk block. Thoroughfare, yes. So I spent that whole day looking outside, waiting for the UPS truck. Right. And then when I finally saw UPS truck downstairs, I threw on my shoes and ran down. Luckily, I see 2 UPS trucks when I get down. Shout out to UPS for hiring people during this time since they have a lot more packaging. The young lady was in her early 20s. She was very beautiful and young and had no idea what to do in that situation. So she flagged down another UPS driver who, once he saw me open that door, said, "You got this, I'm out," and took off. He took off fast. And I was like, "I'm Aaron Grayson." I was like, "I know whatever I sent for, it had to be signed. They couldn't leave it on the doorstep." And she's like, "I need a signature." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." She just puts in my name. I didn't have to touch anything. And she goes, "Well, since you're here, there's 2 other packages in your building. Can you sign for those too?" I'm like, "Here, I'll open up the door. Just drop it on the stairwell." Right? She proceeds and says, "I have to sign it. So I have to sign it. I have to grab everything." She had on gloves that would look like she'd been grabbing everything all day. I end up stuck. And let me tell you, I had to sign one thing here. So my shout out goes to UPS for making me sign for this one package that is this big, barely the size of my fist, right?
Is that a diary or a checkbook?
Oh, man, your boy Aaron came up.
It's one of your favorite porn stars ultrasounds.
Leave it up to Apple. Oh, your boy Aaron came up.
You got an Apple gift card?
No, it's an Apple credit card.
Oh, you got an Apple credit card? What's that do?
It's a credit card.
Well,
made out of metal.
They give you deals on Apple products, or they just like, don't worry, it's gonna break in a year and a half
you
anyway.
Cash back. It ain't the greatest cashback program, but it's metal. It's solid. This is my first credit card. When I worked at the Parkway, I always get upset when people come in with these metal credit cards. I'm like, damn, they must be balling a little bit, or maybe they balling enough credit wise that they can get a metal card. Every time someone hand me a credit card, I'm like, damn it, this thing's metal. And I'll say to them, wow, it's metal. Your boy Aaron finally came up and got him a metal credit card. Aaron came up. APR ain't the greatest. This will be the card that gets paid back every month. I'm only charging enough gas on it that I got money in the account for. But shout out to UPS. Let me tell you, I understand you need to hire drivers. I understand they need jobs. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm not going to go out and write thank you in chalk, like I'm seeing on all these food commercials where the kids are writing thank you and all that when the food get delivered. I ain't telling it. You had me. I dropped the packages off at my neighbor's doors. I had to sign for them, and I dropped them off. I had to carry package. I'm tired of coming in the house and having to wash my keys. Right? I'm tired of having to hand sanitize. I got hand sanitizer in the car, in my pockets of my pants, having to hand sanitize my hands just to grab my damn door handle, knowing that no one else grabbed it. I'm tired of washing my keys. My keys are starting to get rusty. I had to wash everything that was in that pocket with the keys. So next thing you know, here I am washing down my pen, my chapstick, everything else. UPS, get a new system. If I say the name, that should be enough. I mean, I can sign. You can't even write with that stupid ass pen. Change your procedure. I've been at grocery stores now. When you run your credit card and you normally have to sign, they're like, "Oh, you don't have to sign now. Not anymore." I was at the picking up pet supplies. "Oh, no, we just hit this button. You don't even worry about signing." Thank you. UPS, get a new system. You got the drivers walking around. They're carrying this thing. They don't know what to do when they approach a building like this. I wouldn't know what to fucking do either. Add a thing on where you can call the person down when you're there. You have apps now. I would turn on notifications for UPS and FedEx. Notify me. Text, your driver is approaching the block. Text, your driver's downstairs. Guess what? I'll be down there. You ain't got to live there. I ain't got to worry about porch pirates. I ain't got to worry about none of that. I ain't got to worry about sanitizing my whole fucking forearms because you got me delivering your packages.
It's a UPS choice delivery, and they will just text you to tell you that your package ain't coming on the day they said that it was coming.
That's the best they could do.
That's the best they could do.
Shout out to UPS and FedEx sponsorship. Come on our show and please stop making Aaron say,
Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
Brandon, do you have a Kitty Corner shout out?
My Kitty Corner shout outs to people who talk shit about their moms all year, and then the one day out of the year, I see 7 posts from them, pictures of them and their mama. You see people who like you hang out with a lot. You talk to them a lot. They never talk. Like, hey, what you doing? How your family doing? She all right. And then so this Mother Day come around, they got a lot of really nice posts on there. I was like, you gotta be nice. You gotta represent your mom all year, even in conversations that are not with your mom. Mm-hmm. And then you can say some nice shit about your mom, as opposed to, I'm just make sure everybody think I had a good childhood, or I ain't got problems with my mom on this one day. I'm just saying, it's gotta be real all year. Just be real all year. Another shout out is everybody who ran their 2.23 miles this week or on Friday for the dude that got killed in Georgia. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody who did that. I didn't know it was a thing.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody. I hope they realize.
So I didn't run. But
I hope they realize he got killed 2 months ago, and not like most people thought he got killed last week. I'm like, no, that happened 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Deal just got released.
Right. So yeah, man. Shout out to everybody doing that, man. I feel like every once in a while, like some of these videos really hit you, and I avoided that video for forever, or as long as I could, and I accidentally watched it because I couldn't figure out how to get the X on the fucking screen. But yeah, man, it's one of those things that kind of stay with you after you see it. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody who's showing support to his family and really just putting the pressure on the system to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to what it's been doing, which I guess is what it's supposed to do anyway.
My Kitty Corner shout out goes out to HBO. HBO in the last 3 weeks has put on some real snoozers. Every Saturday night, HBO is known for premiering a movie that has most recently been in theaters, and they premiere it on their platform. And sometimes you get some blockbusters, you get some good movies, some funny movies, whatever it is. The last 3 weeks, though, I've had the privilege of turning on HBO on a Saturday night or Sunday afternoon. I'm like, oh, HBO debuted a new movie, and I turn it on to only find that it is some hipster Horcrux inducing ass movies. There's a movie with the dude from This Is Us, the dad guy, driving in a car with a dog and some kind of inspirational movie like Snow Dogs.
The dog keeps being reincarnated. That was a shitty ass movie.
Dude,
I was mad about that.
I don't know. Then the week before they had a movie with Hugh Jackman and some other old beautiful white.
That was actually a good movie. The one about where he was the superintendent of the school.
Yeah, about white people running school, embezzling money, kind of like Brett Favre's
That was actually a really good movie, though. That was a good one.
I don't need to hear about white people stealing money from everybody. I've seen it too many times. And then the last movie that came out was motherfucking Downton Abbey. So I'm at my wit's end. I don't need to see all this bullshit ass movies. Show me something stupid. Show me something funny. Show me something sci-fi that can make me think a little bit, maybe suspenseful. I don't need to see all these stupid ass movies about shit that has already happened in the past, about some existential nostalgic bullshit that these hipster Horcrux things stand for. I don't want to hear it. I don't need to see it. Cut that shit out, HBO. That is our show, my friends. That is our show. Aaron, you got any final words you'd like to say?
No. Stay safe. Stay out there. Do your thing. It looks like people are starting to loosen up a little bit. This is becoming complacent. It seems like it's getting worse and worse. I went to the Rose Garden for a second, and it was not that many people there. And I guess a lot of people did have that Mother's Day idea. It's a nice place to go. I was just chilling, keeping my social distance. But then it got a little crazy by the end. I had to leave, man. I'm like, dude, this place is getting swamped. And then I passed by a couple other places. Berkeley Bowl was empty. That was nice. I passed by there. I was like, wait, you can walk straight in. Yeah, it's empty. I'll stop this perfect for me. But some of the parks are just really crazy. I just want to remind people we're still in the middle of this. It's still highly contagious. So let's just chill out for a little bit longer if you can. You have to work, I understand. If you're trying to celebrate things, guess what? This might be a time where I had a birthday I'm not the biggest Zoom person in the world, but I've been doing it. You got to do what it takes to stay healthy. You might have to live a little differently.
Yeah, remember the Great Depression lasted 44 months, y'all.
Yeah, I know. We're month 3.
Hey, Brandon, any final words? Any final words?
No, man. Yeah, man. Everybody stay safe out there. It's not over yet. I don't want to leave the house for a week and I have to go back for another 6 months. So everybody stay at home.
Shout out sponsorship. Yeah, man. So, anyways, thank you to Maryland. Shout out to Cage Against the Machine, MMA podcast. Maybe link up with them and checking on one of their watch parties. They invited us to one of their watch parties, so we might tap in with them. Shout out to Maryland, Chicago, Montana, North Carolina. Where else we got some people in Texas now. We got Colorado. Where else we got? I think in Seattle or Washington and Oregon, New York. Got some viewers out there. So we got people a little bit everywhere. Delaware, saw somebody there. So keep listening to our show. Keep tapping in with us and plug us in with any of your friends. But aside from that, have a blessed week, and we will leave you with this.
Who you trying to kill me? If you're going to pass in white America, you are going to have to learn to like mayonnaise. No! Listen, if you're ever forced to eat this mayonnaise, simply press the button on this side of the watch. It delivers a rather liberal spritzing of hot sauce. One blast should be enough to make Caucasian food edible.
Man, see, Jared, man, you know the funny thing about conspiracy people, Brandon, before hold that thought for a second. You know the serious thing about conspiracy people, Brandon, is that I noticed something about conspiracy people. Conspiracy people need the people who don't believe in conspiracies. Because every time I try to gather my friends who are conspiracy theories to just talk to themselves about it, not me, just leave me the fuck out the conversation. Like, you know what? Like me sitting here and watching fucking The Office for the 3rd time is better than wanting to hear this shit you got to say. Look, but you know what? You like to do it. I don't want to yuck your yum. I'm going to bring you and this other conspiracy theorist together. You guys talk about it and they never want to talk to each other about it. Why? Because one person always goes too far. And you can tell, like Jared. See, Jared has a conspiracy brother side. He's not complete conspiracy. So when I tried to bring like someone like Jesus in, like that was the first time I heard Jared say something about someone else's conspiracy. Like, Jesus, I don't know if we call that an article you said. Is that an article I said? I was kind of happy Jared said it because I was like, dude, Jesus, you can tell this is like footage. It looks old. It's supposed, remember the one that he said that's supposed to be like the Chinese people? Supposed to be in China, they burnt the whole high rise full of people that had COVID-19. And he was like, and see, and then keep watching. See, now that's the part. Look, they're destroying the people's phones so they couldn't like hit social media and all that and let people know what's going on. And I'm like, the phone footage looks like it looks like an African or Southeast Asian, like darker skinned country where they're like collecting everybody's e-waste.
Yeah, I was like, why the fuck would they just have all these phones laid out on the sidewalk?
It looked like when they collect the e-waste.
You taking phones, you put them back in the bag. You're not gonna pour them out and just have somebody like walk
in the middle of the street. It looked like where Great Britain and America sends its e-waste to, right? and then he's like, yeah, man. See, that's what it's saying. And I was like, the footage don't even look the same. Like one of them looks like back in like 90s footage before we had high definition cameras. And one of them, and Jared's like, I don't know if you call that an article. That's what I learned. I was like, oh, conspiracy people really, really like not being in the same place.
I like the moderately vet out. What's up?
Yeah. It depends on what conspiracy. It balances each other out. Because like Jared has conspiracies that Jesus may be like, oh man, I don't know about that one.
I don't know. Jesus got a lot more conspiracy than Jared. And see, that's the thing. Like Jared sit there and say the conspiracy side makes me think maybe. See, because Jared say maybe, it's only like half of Jared. Whereas Jesus is full conspiracy. He's like, man, don't you think this shit was created in a lab? And I'm like, what? COVID? I mean, I can understand that theory. And he's like, no, man, I'm talking about colds. You don't think that colds and all that? Man, viruses, that shit's created. Cold, dude? A cold? See, that goes too far for Jared. Jared can stick to the COVID, maybe even the 5G towers, and maybe it was created in a lab. He can stick to that. But when people start saying that everything, a common cold and a headache was invented in the lab, that's too far for Jared.
Too far because I do believe in the tenets of biology and physics.
Exactly.
Unless that's a conspiracy.
No. These other people already know it's a conspiracy. You thinking it. See, Jared's thinking, is this a conspiracy?
Unless we're living in the Matrix.
The computer. Another idea stolen from the black man.